Hi, my name is Stephanie Decker. I'm a professor of history and strategy at the University of Bristol, and I'm the principal investigator on this project. Now our other co-investigators will introduce themselves.
My name is David Kirsch. I'm an associate professor at the University of Maryland in College Park.
I'm Adam Nix, lecturer in business and management at De Montfort University, Leicester.
I'm Shantilata KV, working for the National Archives. I'm a digital preservation specialist.
This project is a collaboration between universities and archives in the United Kingdom and the United States. In the UK, the University of Bristol and De Montfort University Leicester work with the National Archives in the UK, and on the US side, the University of Maryland works with the Hagley Museum and Library in Delaware. Our focus is on the ways in which we can research a past where all the traces or sources left behind were created digitally, so what we call here the post-analog past. This means that the sources we're looking at are not digitized, but indeed they were created digitally, and we focus in particular on email as the main form of communication from about the late 90s throughout the noughties, where we can see that letters and correspondence were largely created in a digital manner through email. And as a result, we have the opportunity to research these in ways different from what we would have done for letters that were created before the digital age. And we seek to develop better ways of searching emails as a specific type of historical source.
So far, where email have been saved, they've tended to be used as a corpora for social or information science. So, for instance, the Enron or Avocado IT collections have been used to do network analysis and to understand various issues that have arisen from, say, the Trek conference. But what we want to highlight is that the data of today will become the archives of tomorrow. And historians will need to figure out how to use email as an archival source for telling stories.
In our project, we seek to progress the use of email as a historical source, and in doing so, explore the gap between current efforts to preserve emails and the means by which researchers might actually read and engage with them. To date, there's been substantial progress in relation to the preservation of born digital materials, of which email is a specific example. Our research looks at the means by which these materials can be made more accessible for research purposes, particularly in relation to history. In relation to our project, we specifically look at the dot-com economy and use emails from a single failed dot-com company. We use these emails under the pseudonym Avocado IT, and these emails were preserved and made available via the Linguistic Data Consortium for Linguistic and Computational Research. Our project takes this access further in that we look at how this email archive can be searched and studied while maintaining the relational and network properties of the format that allow for effective contextualization of this material as a historical source.
Our project will deliver 3 distinct outputs over the time period of February 2020 up until February 2022. The first one is a search prototype for the Avocado IT email archive. So this is a search prototype that is focused on email. It will have ways in which it can be tailored to other email archives, but the development has taken place in this case from the Avocado IT email archive because it's a complete set of organizational emails, and this is a very unique resource and allows us to develop a completely new type of search facility. This is focused on the needs of historical researchers as well as heritage professionals, and tries to draw on the nature of email as a networked resource that needs to be understood in the context of a whole thread or an interaction of different email conversations. So in this sense, it is very different from just a simple text search. Second, we will develop a learning resource which takes the form of an online exhibit about avocado IT that will place it in the context of the dot-com boom and bust, and will allow students and the wider public to engage with what it was like to be in such an early dot-com company, and will feature resources that can also be used in teaching, particularly at university level, but potentially also at schools, that highlights some of the issues that occur in companies such as Avocado IT, and how this would have looked like as somebody working there and receiving these emails. Finally, our dissemination here is focused on archivists and heritage professionals. We have extended our project from 1 year to 2 years in order to be able to do this properly during the COVID pandemic. We had planned a number of events and conferences, which we're now changing to webinars and other online events. And we will continue to reach out to the wider public also through the search prototype and the learning resource, but in particular through dedicated resources and by creating a broader network to make people aware of the work we're doing and also to better understand the needs of the user communities.
The work package 1 of this project is focused on developing a search tool facility to email dataset. Usually, emails are archived as a hierarchical folder structure with a folder for each custodian. The root folder is the name of the custodian with her inbox, sent mails, drafts, etc. are arranged as subfolders. So the information is completely decontextualized. For information retrieval, this arrangement holds good if we know the names of the custodians beforehand. However, the historians who would like to use email archives as any other repository may have a very low chance to know the custodian names. They would like to frame their queries in natural language and expect contextual information in their replies. So, we define context for emails as the combination of who, what, and when, as shown in the diagram. It means the key contextual information is the relationship between people and events along the timeline. Making use of the metadata network properties. Email datasets are usually modeled as a graph of static relationships using their inherent metadata network properties. The query answering of our tool needs knowledge extracted from the subject, the content of the body, and attachments from one or more emails. So, we have added a layer of abstraction to the existing graph. The knowledge is extracted by transforming the data to cater our needs using deep learning for the natural language processing. A context graph is generated from the metadata network as a relationship between people and events as nodes. The edges in between represent the time information. This design serves two main purposes. First, it can very well hide the sender or recipient information to protect the privacy if needed. The second advantage is, since events are connected over a timeline, related events can be found very easily.
Building on our efforts in relation to the search tool, we also seek to develop a learning resource about the dot-com boom and bust. Specifically, this resource will need to provide a contextually rich and interactive learning experience relevant to a variety of user contexts. In particular, we see the classroom context as being particularly relevant for this learning resource, but we also see potential applicability within organisations and indeed research. The aim of the resource is to present a specifically curated selection of emails and use these emails to build a narrative of the organisation, Avocado IT, and present it in a digitally interactive form available online. In addition to the emails, we are going to further contextualise the broader history of the time period and the dot-com economy with other relevant digitised and born digital materials. And We are in progress on this part of the project at the moment and look to be continuing it and finishing it in the coming months.